Alright, hello and welcome to another Pioneer video. Been doing some brewing in Pioneer and decided to record some of the matches and upload them, so we've got another one of those. This one's pretty spicy. This is a Selesnya Collector's Cage deck, which is a 2-mana artifact, Hideaway 5, pay 1, put 1 counter on a thing, and then if you have 3 creatures with different power, you can cast the Hideaway card for free. The cards we're trying to cast are Decimator of Provinces, which is just like an overrun and a big thing. It's also just castable in the deck. You can just sack your creatures to cast it. And then, of course, Maria's Call, which is just a land. So you have this thing, Maria's Call, pretty low cost. You just take some damage off your land, but whatever. And then Decimator is a little bit higher cost when you draw it, but it does have practical applications. So yeah, you have a high density of hits for Collector's Cage. So when you do get to do the thing, it's pretty powerful and relatively consistent. In between all that, we have our 8 elves. The main goal with this deck is to play Elf on 1, Mage's Attendant on 2, or Sandstorm Salvager on 2. And then you can use the cage to end up on turn 3 having a creature that has 1 power, 2 power, and 3 power. So turn 3 you can Decimator or Maria's Call and hopefully just win the game. This deck's a lot like Winota, and kind of similar to Greasefang. I guess you don't need the graveyard, but it's sort of just a beatdown creature pile that can also just cheese wins and like do really busted stuff that's hard to interact with unless you have a bunch of removal. So yeah, that's the deck. Playing with the Seraphic Steed. We have, I believe, 10 3-drops that can saddle. I was going to say crew, but can saddle it. It's a pretty powerful card if you get to do the thing. And we do it a few times in our matches, so you'll get to see that. Also, just like a Miser's Beza in the main deck and the side deck. Just a good card, has the stat line we want. Makes multiple bodies, just does a lot of stuff. Lovestruck Beast is just another great magic card that can saddle. It also makes 2 bodies for the Collector's Cage, so setting up things like if you don't have one of the Mage Attendants or Salvager, you can just do it the hard way and have Elf into 1/1 into 5/5, and then grow one of the 1/1s and use the cage that way. But this card is just great too. It just has an incredibly large body for such a cheap threat. Yeah, side deck, just some random stuff. Deafening Silence, Ambusphere for combo. Portable Hole for aggro. Authority for aggro. This is actually a kind of interesting tech card. I've seen some people play against decks like Sacrifice, Convoke, the Burning Tree Emissary decks. I think this card's pretty good. So if you're not playing it, I think it's worth considering. And then just some Rest in Pieces, more Caretaker Talents, Night of Autumns, which saddle the Steed and are just like fine cards in multiple matchups, and then a Yasharn for Sacrifice decks also. So yeah, this deck's pretty cool. If you want to play something a little bit different, something new, but something that's not too hard, this is sort of the perfect deck for that. It's relatively straightforward. Like I said, it's similar to Winota, where you just kind of turn your brain off and do the thing, and you don't have to think too hard unless your opponent has a bunch of interaction. So let's get into the matches. Bust out the trusty media player and go 2 times speed. Okay, so we are on the draw against Giganta with basically a perfect hand. I have Elf into a 3-drop, and then I can cage on 3, and yeah, so we're just kind of crossing our fingers, hoping our opponent doesn't have 15 power or whatever it is on turn 2. This stupid Convoke deck. Yeah, we're kind of doing the same thing as the Convoke deck. I mean, arguably we're jumping through a few extra hoops, but was trying to cheat on stats. So they do have Lethal. They don't have a Convoke creature, which is nice for me. If they did have a Convoke creature, I think we would just be dead, even though we have like a potential turn 3 Maria's Call or Decimator. But no Convoke creature means we have a shot. Still not loving our chances this game, but we're going to do what we can. Play Salvager, make her 3/3, use the lair, because I don't really need double white for any reason, so I can just play out the lair so it doesn't come and play tapped later. And then opponent does some growing on their Warden, and plays a Thalia. So now we get to do the thing. If we hit a Marius Call, the Thalia makes it cost 1 more, which is pretty annoying, but we're lucky enough to hit Decimator. So I think I tank for a really long time here because it's kind of an interesting spot. I'm trying to do all of the different math of, like, if you have Imidane's Recruiter, what does it look like? When you double block my Trampler, what can I do where I make this token a Trampler, and then I have the cage up? How many creatures do I want to attack with? It's actually really complicated because they just made so many stats. And maybe, okay, excuse me, maybe it wasn't this turn. Maybe it's the next turn. I mean, maybe, I guess 2 times speed makes that seem longer. In my head, I spent a lot of time thinking about this. But I guess that's just 2 times speed, and maybe I was thinking faster than I gave myself credit. Okay, whatever. So we hit him to 2, and now I believe I'm dead to Imidane's Recruiter. I'm probably dead to a few different things. But we're just crossing our fingers. They just play a Raise the Alarm guy, and then hit us in the air with the Vigilant Creature and pass for max blocking. I guess they realize they can't kill me. And this is where I tank, I think. Because I know I can't kill them. At a certain point, I realize no matter what I do, I cannot kill them. And then I need to not die. But I also want to attack with enough things so I shrink their board. And I need to threaten them too. So this is where I tank about everything. So yeah, they have double block here. It's kind of hard to see. I think this is a 5/6. So they double block here, and then I can grow the Decimator and then kill the 5/6. If I just attack with Decimator, they can kind of block with, what is this? Yeah, this is 8 power, so they can just block everything here. If I fire up the Lair and shock, every creature I have is lethal. So this is another thing I'm thinking about where, okay, all my creatures are lethal, but how do they get to block? And I think they just make obvious blocks, and then block everything, and then I run the risk of just being dead. But all this is for naught. I'll fast forward. So I decide, I guess these are the attacks I'm gonna make. Force a block here. Force. They need to put 4 power or 4 toughness against this because I can give it trample and then use the cage. This is where they mess up. They don't really. They're probably not used to playing Sandstorm Salvager, and they don't block enough. So all my thinking was kind of a waste of time because my opponent messed up. I'm not sure how this game would have played out. I don't think I was dead unless they top decked. I could just play the attendee. And depending on what they do, I can like not tap this and have blockers and a bunch of different stuff. But they mess up, and then we just kill them with trample damage. So sort of anticlimactic ending, but that is one of the advantages of playing with new cards, I guess. Sideboarding, I think I take out Caretaker's Talon in literally every single matchup. Yeah, Pioneer is a pretty linear format, so it doesn't end up being good, I think, in any of the matchups I play. Just play against like aggro and combo decks. So if you do play this deck, maybe consider getting rid of the Caretaker's Talents, but just board in my anti-aggro cards, and as you can see, another just excellent hand. I think I basically drew perfect in both these games. I did mulligan, but we have 1-mana removal spell, we have Elf, we have a Lifelinker, we have Authority of the Consuls. I kind of just have everything I want. I decided to play Authority on turn 1. I don't really need to portable hole any of these things. I'm not too worried. I could go after the artifact, but I decided this is probably just the play. And then, yeah, so I make a mistake here. I don't really know why I do it other than it's just a blunder where I'm like, I decide I want to go after this because if they have a flash creature, it's harder for them to convoke, which is true, but they can just have a land, so like, who cares? I think I should have just played the Steed, but this play is fine. Like, I don't think it's a horrendous play, but I don't know if it was worth making. I don't know if portable hole's like particularly high value. And our opponent plays Knight, and I believe they just brick, so they don't get anything. Everything is going in our favor. Play a Steed, attack for 1. And I'm just waiting on white mana for this Beza or just a creature that can crew. It's awkward for them because if they want to attack with this 4/4, which obviously they want to try to kill me, I can attack back with the Lifelinker depending on what they have. So So they attack for 4. Play a Thorium Inspector. I top deck Lovestruck Beast, which is... I have a lot of really good top decks here. I could draw Chariot, I could draw Lovestruck Beast, I could draw any of the 3-drops. But that was a great draw. It's going to block this 4/4. Also, they let me attack with my first striker. So, yep. I have pretty reasonable control of this game. Not too worried about much. They end up Gleeful Demolitioning the Portable Hole to get their thing back. Doing some Clue and Blood. Looting away extra lands. And... okay, so we draw another creature that saddles the steed. And I think I just clear the 1/2 so they don't have any good blocks, and then alpha. Like, I know I have control of this game. I don't really care if this steed gets blocked here. I get in a bunch of damage, and then I have a 3/3 flyer. And now the Salvager can grow the flyer and all my other tokens, so... yeah, they eat the steed, block whatever. Top deck of Venerated locks it on, but it just... I don't think it matters at this point. And that's the match. So, yeah, just great draws by me, poor draws by the opponent. I think they won the die roll, but... game 1, they had a fine hand, but game 2, their hand was kind of pitiful, and we had authority. So, alright, match 2. So, this hand is fine. I think you should always keep this hand, but it does need help. My opponent reveals Yorion, which, I don't know, could mean multiple things. Probably a slower deck. So I decide this hand's probably okay against the slower deck. They play the port, so this is the landfall combo. Not really a slower deck, so kind of unfortunate, but whatever. I still think I would keep this hand, even if you told me that they were playing this deck. So we have Elf. They have a fetch land. We play Elf and play Cage. Cage hits Decimator, which is a really big deal. That's the exact type of thing I want. They have Lotus Code Recariated. We've only drawn Elves and lands, so kind of awkward, but... play our Elf first. This way the base draws. And the Ill-Time Explosion, clear the board. I draw Mage's Attendant, which is a good thing, but... Ill-Time Explosion, discarding... I think that's a Kenrith. Draw Mage's Attendant. Play it, we get to leave up the 4 spike from the 1/1 and then have Collector Cage activation. They play a Spelunking, can't really do anything about it. And then we grow the Attendant, draw for turn, play Sandstorm Salvager, use the Cage. And now we get the Decimator. I don't think it's lethal, but it is a lot of damage and it does sort of force them to kill me next turn, which is something I think they can do. So how much is this? This is like 16, I think. Yeah. Alright, so they're at 6. This is my board. Ill-Time Explosion needs to discard a 7-drop, which I think this deck has Atraxa, so they can technically do that, but they end up just casting an Omnath and scooping. And that's game 1. So, able to beat a Wrath. The Collector's Cage is still effective. We just have so many ways to make bodies. Like, even just an Asika's Chariot can potentially turn a Cage back on. So, yeah, I don't know exactly how to board here. I'm thinking about Portable Hole because I know Lotus Cobra is just such a terrifying card for them to have. But I think I decide against it. Think about the grindy cards because they have sweepers. But I definitely want the invasions. And I think I want Rest in Peace. I'm not even sure. But I think that they can beat Rest in Peace, and I still want it either way. So, yeah, and I think I just sort of tank on stuff. I guess I decided I want to put in Night of Autumn because they have Leyline Binding. And, yeah, okay, so, sorry, I skipped past this. So, it looks like we keep 7. This hand's great. We have Elf into Salvager. I was pretty confident about this going into the game. I have turn to Salvager, and then I have Cage activation. I have an Elf. Like, their deck is all tap lands, so I'm pretty optimistic about my spot. I go Elf into Salvager. And then they have Spelunking into Fabled Passage, and then they Portable Hole my 3/3. So now I'm kind of reset where... even though they didn't really do anything on the first turns, they made up for it on this turn by having what amounted to like a 2-mana Spelunking, and just messing up my ability to pressure them. Draw another Salvager, and I think I just play out the board and pray they don't have an ill-timed explosion. So it's their turn, and we get Elesh Norn. So this card just bricks all my stuff. Collector's Cage doesn't do anything. I play one to be able to grow my stuff, but it just doesn't really matter. Play out a Steed. They have ill-timed explosion anyway. So this game, I'm not going to say they had the nuts. Like, their hand wasn't that good, but they just kind of answered my board, then played an Elesh Norn and swept me. I've been getting Elesh Norn a lot. It turns out a lot of the ways I enjoy playing Magic is with things that have ETBs, and feels bad to die to an Elesh Norn. So yeah, we just get soloed by Elesh Norn plus sweepers is what it is. So on the play, game 3, I like my chances. I think that I should be favored. I don't think I changed sideboard plan too much. And I think... So this hand, this is actually the same as the hand in the first game, or one of the matches maybe. I think the first game is kind of the same, where I need help, but I think it's just a keep. I sort of have everything I want. Like Chariot is a little bit worse than just a 3-drop would be. If I just have a 3-drop here and I hit an Amari's Call or whatever on time, I think I'd probably just win the game, but I still think it's a keep. So we have Elf into Elf Cage. If we rip a land, we can play the Chariot and use the Invasion, which is really nice. Just plays a sack land, plays an untapped land, passes. We draw a Lair, which is unfortunate, but not that big of a deal because I could just like lair them now by crewing and then activating it. We just have to wait a turn. My hand's Double Decimator, which is bad. It's not really good. Obviously, one has text, right? The first one does something. The second one's probably not going to do anything. So they have land Nissa, and this is where I sort of realize how doomed I am. Even though I kind of have the board, I have so much going for me. This is a pretty terrifying card, and I can't clear it. So sort of just hoping, like, Invasion's cool and all, it makes the card cost 2 more, but if they have a fetch land, which they probably do, they're going to have 5 mana, and then they're going to get to tutor. They're not going to be that low, and then they probably set up for a kill on the next turn. I draw Mage's Attendant, which is nice. I'm doing math with Decimator, trying to set up a kill. I assume I just play the Attendant crew, and then activate Collector's Cage, attack the Invasion, and then grow my board. What I should have done, I think I make a mistake here. I missed out on 3 damage. I'm not sure if it matters. We'll see if it does. I attack both here. I should just attack the Chariot there and the 3/3 at the face, I think. If they want to chump, that's fine. Like I guess I should honestly just attack the Chariot at the face. Because, like, this flipping matter. I'm really tunnel visioned on ill-timed explosion, but I overthink it. I just miss damage for no reason. Not a big deal. So they go. They have Fabled Passage. That's sort of like the worst possible, I think. Or maybe... Yeah, so they have Fabled Passage. That's the worst possible for me. I know that their hand is these cards, so they don't have a Lumra. And I know they have more Omnaths and Lumras in their deck. If they brick on the Lumra, I think they just lose the game. But they hit on the Lumra. Our Collector's Cage didn't hit an Amari's Call or a Decimator. So we kind of low rolled in our cage, and they kind of... I don't think they high rolled. I think they, like... I think they probably had 4 Lumras, 3 Omnaths, something like that, if I had to guess. They probably have more Nissas in their deck, too. It's whatever. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but if they bricked here, that would have been nice. But that is not what happened. And then they get all the mana. The Nissa does everything they want. The Lumra makes them however much. They Spelunking. Then they Omnath. And now they just have this board. So we draw Rest in Peace, obviously, after the Lumra gives them 1,000 mana. Which kind of sucks. I'm trying to figure out if I can do enough damage. And I think I just conclude that all I can do at this point is Decimator. And then Decimator again if they don't kill me. So that's what I do. They make blocks, I sack invasion, I save my board, and then they just, I mean, they obviously they can just do whatever they want. I need their hand to be really bad. And they have Elish Norn into stuff, I think. So, gain 1,000,000 life off all their Omnaths and Nisses and stuff, and I think I just pack it in. So, a little unfortunate. Kind of lost our coin flips. Our opponents won theirs. Our opponent won theirs. Nothing too crazy. But I think on average, like when I'm on the play versus a deck like this, I think I would be favored with this deck. So it does suck to lose. But it is what it is. It's Magic, right? Good games. All right. So this is match 3. I decided to keep this hand. It is not the strongest, but I'm on the play with an elf, so probably worth the risk. Elf dies. We draw Lovestruck Beast. Play a tap land. They have Burning Tree and a Coyote. They hit us for 5. That's fine. And this is a game where the Lovestruck Beast really shines. It's just so big. So it's just nice to have. They have to have Monstrous Rage. And then I just trade. I don't even take any extra damage. And I know I have these Chariots lined up. So they develop their board. No attacks because they don't want to bluff the rage. I'm just blocking anyway, so they would just lose the creature because they don't have the rage. They play Audacity on one of the mice, play another mouse. I play some Chariots, just hit them. They block with the Audacity mouse. I take 4. Play on the Chariot. So we got a huge board. There's a Salvager. I think I make a big attack here. This is 19, so it forces a block. I think Burning Tree just chumps. And then they scoop. So yeah, there's game 1. Nothing too fancy. Just played an elf. It died. Opponent attacked me for 5 on turn 2, and then we played a Lovestruck Beast, and that was about it. Putting in Knight of Autumn, Beza, Portable Authority. I think I take out all the Decimators. Think about taking out Cage. Take out the Talents. Yep. Pretty straightforward side decking. Like I said, this deck is not too complicated to figure out. So on the draw, I have a hand without any white. I don't think that I should keep this. It's kind of close. If you kept it, I wouldn't think you were psycho, but I decided to mulligan and then have a great hand. Just going to mulligan the Chariot because I want to cast Beza this game. I think that's more important than worrying about flooding. Opponent plays Kumano. I play Elf. They play Mouse. Play with Fire. I top deck Authority, which is pretty good news. Like, their hand was kind of perfect against what I'm doing. But I top deck the Authority, and it does a lot of work here, where it gains me, basically 3 life. And then I draw another Beza too, so I know as long as I can get to these Bezas, I'll be fine. These Gruul decks are super scary. Like, they do have really busted nut draws. But there's the lair again. I think the lairs are important. Like, it's pretty annoying that they come into play tapped on 3 because you're an elf deck that wants to play 3 drops. But I don't think you should cut them because they're useful when it comes to things like activating Cage and just like having more game against sweepers. So I think you should leave the lairs. Maybe you could cut 1. You could also try a Mutavault. Maybe a Murex is the answer. Or Murex lets you cast the Steed and is an untap land. So that could be the card that you want to play instead of Lair. Just add Murex. Or the problem with the Fountain is that it doesn't actually give you, like, if my hand is like Besage or Forest or Lair plus Elf plus Fountain Port, I can't cast my white creatures on turn 2, so that's kind of annoying. Okay, so they have Ferocidon, and that's really scary, right? Because I have all this life gain, but now if this Ferocidon doesn't attack, it's not really going to do anything. Fortunately for me, I think they just attack and don't have anything, so I get to clear it. And yeah, I think arguably a mistake by the opponent. I don't remember if they have a Tarkus Commander or not. Which makes this attack sort of strange. I don't remember why they make this attack. I just remember being really happy that the Ferocidon's going to die. One of the things I'm thinking is that they have Monstrous Rage plus a Tarkus command to give it 5 toughness. But again, like, maybe this is a person who hasn't played against the Salvager. Because the Salvager gets to grow my 3/3 to a 4/4, so I get 5 on it either way. I guess it's just a Tarkus command. So, sure. Trading Golem for this thing. Pump our Golem, and even if they have Monstrous Rage, I'm not too worried about it. So, go to 5, but not dead. Cleared the thing that's making it so I can't gain life, and then we just get to start casting bases. Go up to 9, add a 4/4 to the board. Play a Coyote. That's fine. So yeah, they pumped the mouse. I just traded, took 4. Doesn't really matter to me. I have another Beza. And I think they just scoop here. So Beza and Authority both shining a lot in this matchup. Beza's kind of a weird one where, like, I thought maybe it wouldn't be good because typically you want it to make 1/1s, and my deck is just adding so many creatures to the board. But a lot of the times you just cast it and it draws a card, and people just fight over the board. Like, people will answer your creatures, you can chump block. I don't know if Beza is a card you need in this deck. Like, I know that you don't need it, but I do think it's probably decent. So, all right, this is match 4. This hand looks awesome. Short a cage, but I do have Caretaker Talent, so I can go Elf into Salvager, and then Caretaker Talent plus activated if I draw a white land. Opponent plays a Balagad Recovery, so I'm on the play, which means that I actually have a good shot. That is one of the upsides of this deck over just like more mid-rangey stuff, is you do have these Decimator Provinces, sort of nut draws, so you can actually kill combo decks. And lucky enough, draw the cage, play it hoping to find a Decimator, and we miss. So still a good card. Ends up being a 3-mana Seeker's Chariot that gives us a counter. I'm not going to complain about that. Really wanted the pig here, though. I think if I just have the pig, they just die. I don't think Lotus Field can beat that game 1. But the Impulse... Don't play Lotus Field, which I'm ecstatic about. Trying to figure out how to maximize my damage. I think I just do the max amount of damage. My board doesn't really matter. I think they end up going to 1. So we just play attack. The elf attacking is the same as the cage activation. So grow the Chariot in case they have a sweeper. Unfortunately, can only get them to 1. They Vizier, and I think they just pack it in after this. Alright, so Deafening Silence, Damping Sphere in, Invasion in, and I'm thinking about Rest in Peace. I don't think it's good enough. You could put it in, but I would have to have a card that I didn't think would be worth having. Alright, terrible hand. Obviously no lands. Into not a great hand. I could have mulliganed to 5. I don't know if it's worth doing. Like, maybe if I have like a third sideboard card that I think is really good, like Damping Sphere, Deafening Silence, and maybe if I had 2 Damping Spheres, I would have mulliganed. But I just decided to keep, just to beat down, hope it works out. So they have land, Lotus Field. I just have some elves. Play a Chariot, make an Angel, attack, hoping they don't sweeper me. They have Thespian Stage plus Lotus Field, so I know I'm probably going to die here. I'm fortunate enough to find a Mage's Attendant at some point, and this gives me 2 Force Spikes, which is nice. If they didn't have an untap land here, I could have actually just won the game, but they just have untap land, and they just get me through it. So what can you do? Not a very impressive game from either deck. I just did mediocre beatdown. They did nothing and then comboed me. So if either, yeah, it is what it is. Lotus Field is just like, I cannot believe the people that I don't know. This is quite the deck to, if you're gonna pick a hill to die on, it being Lotus Field is good for Pioneers. An interesting one to me. I think that you know, there's the argument of like you need a combo, or you definitely do not need combo decks in a format. Like I think that's been proven with time. But you want a combo deck in the format for diversity. This one is just so miserable though. Like, like Just Guy Ascendancy and like Sahili, Felidar. There's like so many things that are quote unquote combo decks that are not just like stack based garbage like this. But they have Pour, they have Untapped Land. I just have these 4 spikes forever. They play around them the whole time, and then they just click buttons. And I don't know how long it takes them to kill me. I don't think it takes that long. They just do the whatever thing where they get Tutor Leer and Pour. And I don't think they even killed me. I think eventually I'm just like, why am I still here? Alright, so I'm reassessing. I think about Rest in Peace again to mess up Leer and maybe a Dig Through Time. I decide I just want to kill him. I just want to have a nut draw and hope things work out. So this is a keep, like a lot of the other ones where I need a guy. But my deck is full of just random creatures, so I'm hoping we draw one on time. And I have an elf. I have mana, I have a cage. I'm not mulliganing this. I think I just play the Steed. I don't attack with the elf here, I think, which is stupid. I don't know, I just miss a point. So there should be a 19, whatever. Cage finds Decimator, which is good news for me, but we draw another land. Not super exciting. And put the counter on the Steed. I think that's so if I put the layer to 2 power, or I guess 1 power, lets me put it to 2, and then use the cage, but they have an unsummon. They just bounce the Steed. I don't actually know the name of this card. It's one of the gift cards from the new set. It can bounce permanents, but draw another land. I think just redevelop my board. Not really doing anything great. This is not at all where you want to be against a Lotus Field deck, but I'm just hoping that their hand sucks. There's Thespian Stage. Obviously, that's horrifying. They end up blowing up the cage because they're worried that I'm gonna like draw a creature and decimator them and do a bunch of damage, which is fair. Fortunate enough to draw a Chariot. This is a really big deal. So now I have some threatening stuff. They don't have the 2 Lotus Fields on the untap yet, so I have that going for me. And then they tank for a while. Eventually, Float Mana, Hidden Strings, Dark Petition, rat the board. Okay, well, that sucks. So at this point, I think I'm pretty confident that I'm dead, but I'll go through the motions because maybe their hand sucks. So Steed, I think I go Steed, Shock, Lair, hit you for 4, you're at 9. They go, they scrying, get a land, whatever. They have 2 Lotus Fields. I draw an elf, just play it because why not? Add to the board. Activate the Lair, hit them, 6 damage, they're at 3. Cross your fingers. They have 5 cards, 3 life. I'm 21. They have 2 Lotus Fields. I'm assuming I'm dead. But they just scoop. So, yeah, sometimes they don't have it. One of the things I just despise about this deck is, like, yeah, winning, losing, whatever, that's fine, that's cool. But, like, the games are always so bad. Like, I never win a game against Lotus Field and I'm like, wow, that game was sick. Like, it's just, like, 100% of the time, the games just are bad. And it is an interesting type of gameplay to want to be in a format. Like, even a deck like, I don't know, like Amulet's like really lame and kind of similar, but like at least I still think the games were probably better against Amulet than they are against Lotus Field. But what do I know? Maybe I'm missing out on all the good games. Okay, mulligan to 6 on the play. This hand is awesome. I'm hoping my elf does not die, but even if it does, opponent goes black-white land, pass. So I actually don't know what this is. If I played more Pioneer, I think I probably could have figured it out pretty quickly. But I'm like, maybe they're black-white mid-range or some shit, and maybe they're Esper Control and they don't have a Fatal Push. I don't know what this is. So we're curving. We want to use a cage on curve. And they untap, play land, Witherbloom command. You know, there you go. We know what it is. They didn't mill a vehicle. Killed my elf. And now we're in this kind of awkward, not that bad spot. So add back to the board, play a land on tap, so I have the 4 spike in case they want to like Grizzly Salvage or something, and I decide to fight over it. I don't think my life total matters that much. Like, maybe you make the argument I'm supposed to play Temple there, but I just don't think it matters. Then for 4, they play a Sentinel. We play a Collector's Cage. And there's Decimator. So, I think I actually just have lethal through this. I end up, like, kind of tanking. Trying to figure out, like, should I suicide my guy in? I don't get to the point of doing the math. I think the opponent just does lethal math before I do. I kind of overthink it. I'm distracted by this saddle, but they just scoop. All right, so I mean that is what this is a turn 4 kill. This match is the last match I play. This match is just like, if you ever are like, why don't people like Pioneer? I think this match is a very good example of why people do not like Pioneer. So yeah, there's my opponent played 3 lands and died. And then I think I end up boarding in these invasions. So obviously the Rest in Peace come in. I'm trying to figure out if I want Invasion or not. I'm just looking at my deck and like, is there better or worse cards? Caretaker Talent, like I said, it comes out every matchup. We just played against what? Greasefang, Lotus Field. I think, was it 2 aggro decks? But yeah, we just play a bunch of matchups where Caretaker Talent is not good. So I don't know what I would change in the main deck. What I would take out 4 Caretaker Talent in the main deck, but I think you could probably have 2 in the 75. I don't know where you want them, main deck or somewhere else, but that card did not matter. All right, so mulligan to 5 against Greasefang on the draw. I think about this 0 lander for a second because I have Elf Rest in Peace, but I decided I can probably win on a mull to 5, and if I just brick on the land, it's bad for me. So this hand sucks. Fortunate enough to draw an Elf. They just have With Bloom Command. They mill a vehicle. I play a Steed. So they have 3 lands, and I killed them the last game, and then this game I'm hold to 5. They Wither Bloom Command my Elf, and then they turn 3 Greasefang me. So it's like, yeah, fun. I could leave up Beseiju and blow up this Asika's Chariot that makes 2/2/2s and then comes back next turn. But instead I played my 2-drop because in Magic the Gathering sometimes you want to play a 2-drop. This game plays out the way you'd expect. I do kind of try to fight. They double block, trade, I get a 3/3. I don't think it comes close to matter. I'm pretty sure they have a Fatal Push 2. And yeah, so what are you going to do? It was a mull to 5 anyway. So back to the drawing board. I don't think I sideboard differently. I'm thinking about Beza maybe in case I do draw Rest in Peace and I don't just want to like die to Chariots. But I decided I have my own Chariots. I think I should win that style of game. Like I have Steed to get the air. And like I said, I just have my own Chariots. I have Salvager to grow my tokens. So. Alright, so I put in Authority. I think I put in Authority over Invasion just because I decide like I think on the play I would just want to combo them. And I decided I just want Authority to make their things tapped so I can kill them. Or maybe not even combo them. Like I want to get them dead. I'm not trying to interact with them too much. I just want to get them dead. Authority's 1 mana. So it's easy to have a turn where I go like Elf into 3-drop into Authority 3-drop. And maybe that's good enough for just the beatdown plan. I know if I can stall out the game, I can just Decimate her to finish them. So on the play, I think I just make that swap. And we mulligan. I think the first hand's a no-lander. Keep this hand. Fingers crossed. You know, they don't have Witherbloom Command, but we brick on land. We have 22 lands in our deck, so not the most, not the least. This is Magic, is what it is. And then I think on turn 3 they play Temporary Lockdown. So I'm like, well, fuck my life. Draw Rest in Peace without any white mana. And I think that's the match. So I think I just scoop here. Maybe they play a Chariot or something. Oh yeah. Okay. So they also turn for me. Not only do they turn 2 Grizzly Salvage, turn 3 Lockdown, and then turn 4 Greasefang me. So I kill them on turn 4 game 1. They kill me on they don't kill me, but you know, it's maybe it's a turn 4 kill, but it's a turn 3. I can't win the game. And this also isn't a kill, but it's just a Parhelion, so obviously I'm going to die to it. So that's Pioneer. It's a format. I really wish that they would actually have banned cards over the past 2 years, because now we're in this like weird spot where they're like, we don't want to ban too many cards. That'll piss people off. But they didn't ban anything, so now it's like if you do want to make the format enjoyable for most people, everything's sort of backlogged. But what are you gonna do? It's still a solid finish. I think we went 3-2 total. Some misfortune in certain points, but that's just Magic. I don't think we got incredibly unlucky or anything, and we had a lot of really good draws. So happy to showcase the deck with those matches. Changes, I think I like the mana base. I think you could play without Fortune, Caretaker's Talent, and Beza. You could maybe just try playing a bunch of Lovestruck Beasts. You could try playing Invasion main deck. That might not be crazy. You could try Portable Holes main deck. I think that the flex spots are the things that I would consider in the main deck is just this stuff, and then these two, right? Like, if you just don't want to play this card, I thought that it looked pretty good in this league. It is somewhat awkward that it like you don't have a way to pump it, but I think that 2/2 body ends up being okay. So if this card's bad for you after your playtesting, and the cage can grow it, but if this card is bad, you could make this like Voice Resurgence or Smuggler's Copter or whatever, Reckoner Bankbuster. But all these cards are kind of whatever. Like maybe I would try 2 Bankbusters, 4 Lovestruck Beasts, and just run that, or maybe just have some Portable Holes main deck since we played against so many fast decks. Side deck needs work. I don't know what it should be. I still don't really know how to build Pioneer side decks. It's a new format. People are doing a bunch of different random stuff. But you could definitely make this better. But either way, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, if you like Winota, this is a good place to, explore that style of thing where you're just like a beatdown deck that sort of has these instant kill buttons. So yeah, I hope you guys have been enjoying these. Been trying to be a little more consistent with some videos. This formatting has really helped it, and sort of motivated me to even doing it, just because it's so it's so easy to make videos this way. So, all right, peace.